TheInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily brief summary video or public video here. We do Monday to Friday. Actually, I don't know whether Julian does one on Thursdays or not. But anyway, happy Monday morning. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't know. Something like that. Monday the 5th of February. Actually, going to be leaving town here tomorrow. Gonna go pick up my show director producer. Actually, I was talking to Joe there earlier today. Chris, did you get a message from him? I asked him to touch base with you.
I did. I reached out.
We should be in Portland on the 7th of February to do the Coinigy show that night. So if you happen to be on the wet coast or I suppose over in Asia, you could probably watch it in the morning for you. But we'll be doing a show there. I don't know. I think Joe has us planned here. He's just going to rent out a room or something at University of Oregon or something like that and do it there. So anyway, it should be an interesting adventure. Then we're going to head on down to Cali. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Chris has got himself invited to like Super Bowl parties and stuff. So maybe I'll sit in the car outside of the party and listen to them have a good old time together. I don't know. I don't know whether I was invited or not. Then we're going to head on down to LA. So if you happen to be in LA, I did have a few people actually reach out and say, hey, I'll be in LA. I know there was one gentleman who's out of Santa Barbara, said maybe swing on by. So if anything, I can't remember the person, their site name was, who was it? FRE280. Is that who it was? No, that's somebody else. All right. Anyway, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, you'll know that, hey, Santa Barbara, that's me. Yeah, maybe you could reach out to Chris and let him know. And Chris, I think, is going to be sort of our official navigator for the trip. Anyway, might swing by. Then, of course, I think it's either the 14th or the 15th. I can't remember. Maybe I think it's like 3 o'clock in the morning or something on the 14th or 15th. We're heading down to El Salvador for a full week. It should be a fun little party. Hang out with TBG and the newly elected Crypto El Presidente. I think he won a resounding victory. People were kind of worried about maybe he was going to get tossed out of office, but I get the impression the local population like what he's doing. So they should be in pretty good spirits. And we'll go hang out there. Then I will make my way back to LA and then work my way back up the West Coast on my own. In fact, actually, Mr. Santa Barbara, maybe I'll swing by and hit you up on the way back up. And actually, the Rivieras, they're in Santa Cruz, if I'm not mistaken. I wouldn't mind popping in and saying hi to those guys. So if you happen to be on the West Coast and you can't hook up with Chris and I on the way down, maybe I'll hook up with you guys on the way back up north. Francis also too. I don't know whether you're going to watch this today, but yeah, we should probably see if we can maybe have dinner tomorrow night around Seattle area somewhere. So it should be quite an adventure here over the next 1, 2, 3 weeks. Brian's gonna go actually 1, 2, 3, kind of like 4 weeks, really. Should be quite an adventure. FYI, level 3ers will be doing class tonight and maybe or excuse me, tomorrow. And actually, I'm gonna literally do class and then head straight out to CTAC following that. And then we'll do another class probably from LA. Maybe I'll do it with Shartoshi or something. And then we'll take a couple weeks off, give you guys some time to hang out with Steven in the harmonics room, and then I'll be back. So anyway, it's going to be quite a while February here, no doubt about it. Uh, Thanks, sir. As for sort of market updates, if you watched the broiler chicken show yesterday, then you'll be well aware of my comments with regard to I don't know whether actually I tweeted him out or not, but our buddy, yeah, RJ Talks. This guy's kind of he's an interesting character. Anyway, I think he kind of sort of revealed, I don't know whether that's the right word or not, the fact that actually it looks like the whole bond market down in the States has been heavily manipulated by these Fedsters down south. Because there was a whole bunch of corporate debt that was coming due that needed to be refinanced. And of course, the banks don't make any money if you don't refinance and you declare bankruptcy because you're a zombie company and you can't really afford to stay in the business. So what did they do? They manipulated the whole bond market and literally the entire market because the stock market rallied in the face of that. To make sure that they could refinance, because after all, you can't make fees if people don't refinance. So we look at things like the bond market. You notice that they're not very happy. And I kind of warned you in that free video yesterday. If this goes and M's out, and you tell me, are the M's coming in here? It looks like they are to me. I think that the bond market is sitting there going, we got totally played. We were lied to by the people that, and it's so incredible because there is like literally a fluff piece put out on CBS, of course, 60 Minutes, right? Yesterday, where they did an interview with Jerry, and he finished off the interview at the very end of it. He finished off the interview going, well, if we don't have integrity, we don't have anything to stand on. And yet, RJ completely exposed the fact that they are blatant liars. This bond market should not have rallied the way that it did. This was a complete fraud. And you can see, and in the latest FOMC statement, when he was doing his little press conference there, it's interesting because if we actually look at the US dollar index, you can see it on the charts. That last FOMC meeting, we even talked about it. And, coming out of here, he was like, no, it looks like everything's hunky-dory. We're probably going to be lowering rates soon. And what did the US dollar index do in the face of potentially lower, payouts on T-bills and stuff? Well, everybody sold their US dollars and went and bought, euros and yen and China to dollars and all that kind of crap. And they just basically got out. And it turns out that they were completely played. So this FOMC meeting, now, sir, have we engineered a soft landing? No, I don't think so. We're not there yet. A complete 180. Why? And like I said, if you don't believe me, listen to Mr. RJ Talks. I think this all had to do with the fact that there was just a ton of corporate debt that was coming due. And of course, the banksters don't make any money if corporations declare bankruptcy. They have to refinance, right? Of course, they make tons of money when they refinance. So everybody wins, except for the people who are trying to figure out what the hell's actually going on in the world and what is real. But anyway. So it is interesting to note that this US dollar index, and I even put a tweet out before earlier today. This is a fascinating example and analogy of, just trading setups. This was one of my favorite setups I call it affectionately the bot. And really all it is like a bastardization of the AB equals CD harmonic pattern. It's not harmonics. And of course, anybody who does call this harmonics harmonic people get all pissed off. Like this would be what they call a potential reversal zone. This would actually be a trade location for the harmonic people. So we've tagged that. My bastardization of the harmonics, you enter in at 25% of this anticipated move, and this 75% of the anticipated move is your profit margin. So as you can see, we picked up 2 contracts. This was more just demonstration. I mean, you can see it's not really much money, but all right, thanks. Hopefully what you see is just, this is the same repeated pattern, and hopefully you all learn from this. That's the whole point of this. So anyway, up to move stop to scratch, move stop to trailing, a whole bunch of back and forth. We were talking about how megaphones were forming here through all this, and be careful, you're going to get chopped up if you take new trades here. And sure enough, this was just chop Vegas, and all of a sudden, boom, bot target was hit here today. So we had an order, of course, to let one of them go. Stop now is basically at scratch here, 102,658. I think that's basically where we went long here. And we'll just see where the hell the wind blows us. You never know. And then this is another good example why I really like this sort of free look kind of idea is this. And, it's half the reason why we do the things like sell halves on doubles and then just get yourself a risk-free trade on the other one. Now, there's no risk involved in this position. It is working away. If the US dollar just goes cranking straight up, I mean, you don't know what the hell's going to happen. Well, maybe this one trade makes you a fortune. You just don't know. Anyway, really good sort of working example for everybody. Hey, you want to take a screenshot of that? You want to learn this, live this? We got one guy in the education program, Dan. Man, he is working like a son of a gun. And he was the one who asked the question in the Broiler Chicken show yesterday about CanSlim. If anything, I'd love to see Dan get really good at trading the bot. But anyway, point of the matter here is that's been hit now. So now what the hell do we see happen? Theoretically, AB equals CDs. These can be alt AB equals CDs, which means we might go up to 127. We might go all the way up to 1.618. Very possible. And, the way that I'm sort of seeing the broader market is, the euro looks like poop. The yen looks like poop. All of the commodity currencies look like poop. It is interesting to see how the stock market, again, I think that the whole market went kind of the cat's out of the bag yesterday, or I guess like last week when that RJ guy kind of was commenting on it. Keep in mind, it's not one person. A lot of people are saying this stuff. But anyway, you can see the bond market just puking out here, just, because the economic data is actually coming in pretty strong. Econs that came out here today, again, because this market was highly manipulated, the econs are going to get stronger here, folks. They're not going to get weaker. So we've had for quite a while the Purchasing Managers Index, Institute for Supply Management, all this kind of stuff. These numbers are actually coming in, especially this Services Index report. They're coming in much stronger than expected. I mean, that's almost like about a 7 or 8% move higher here. Month over month, but much stronger than expected. And you're probably going to see a lot of this kind of anecdotal information that that the U.S. economy, because it's been juiced here. Interesting. It'd be interesting to see how these guys all sort of back talk and try and sort of justify what they've been doing here recently in the market. Like I said, there was a CBS 60 Minutes piece that was shared in the lounge yesterday. And, it's one thing I love about TRI is we all sort of work together and share information. And it actually was interesting when that video first came out. I couldn't even see it in China. I don't know whether it was the Chinese blocked the CBS or what it was. But anyway, I've sort of figured out eventually how to see it. But I do find it fascinating that I think that they did this report because they needed to backtrack and they needed to sort of remind the public that actually we're very trustworthy, and our integrity, of course, is the most important thing. And you can trust us. We're on the job. We're doing the right thing. That was this interview here. And frankly speaking, listening to it, it was just a total fluff piece. I mean, it was like softball questions. Oh, why are you so great, sir? Can you tell us? You know, that kind of nonsense. Anyway, I do find it fascinating that they did that piece. It was almost like they had to quickly cobble something together after what's happened here in the bond market, because I think it was a complete and utter fraud that has been pulled on all of us here over the past few months. And I didn't really quite understand why the stock market itself sort of V bottom there and just went straight up in October. But now understanding that all of this was heavily manipulated and finessed, it makes perfect sense now. Anyway, it is what it is. I finish off this free broadcast. Obviously, you guys are most interested in yield corn and crypto. I hate to say it. I mean, it's still, we're stuck in a trading range. I think probably the most important thing that's happening right now is we all remember our your friend and mine, Mr. Craig Wright, is having his day in court. And he's going to, I guess, reveal to the world that he indeed is Satoshi Nakamoto. What? I thought we put all this to bed years ago. But there he is. And actually, it's interesting. Interesting. Vancouver is trending right now. That's pretty scary. Why the fuck is it trending? Oh, God. I mean, this place is such a shithole. I've been trying to see a doctor now for like a week, 2 weeks, like literally going into clinics, going into urgent care facilities, and I can't fucking see a doctor. And I actually had a doctor's office call me at like 8 o'clock this morning. The doctor's canceling the appointments. Like, what the fuck? I mean, this place is such an absolute shit show. It's incredible. Anyway, don't get me triggered. Interesting how there's a Nova Scotia's trending. Oh, God. Anyway, it is interesting when I saw this morning, and for this community, I mean, frankly speaking, if you're not in China, to just stay the fuck away from this place. It's a nightmare, and there's no reason to come to China. This place is a mess. So, and the irony of it all, it only represents about 2 or 3% of the world's population in a capital market, so it's pretty much irrelevant. So just ignore anything nonsense talk about Brian in China. Anyway, so Mr. Craig Wright, theoretically, this is his day in court today. Of course, he said publicly years gone by that he is Satoshi Nakamoto, and if he is found out to be perjurious in court, then lock him away for 20 years. There was an interesting comment here. Where's Mr. Vitalik? It was great. I remember in these conferences, Vitalik himself stood up and said, "You're such a fraud. Shut up." I thought that was great. Suppose he should be hanging out with Jerry, right? And Janet and all of them. Throw in Joey Diamond in there as well, I suppose. But anyway, I guess just the point being that if you're looking for some sort of I don't even know what the term is. Red herring, I guess, maybe. I don't know whether that's the right term or not. But some sort of, thing that could come out of absolutely nowhere and derail the Bitcoin story and, the frivolity of the space. It might just be something like this. I don't know. Keep your eyes peeled. If nothing else, it should make for some interesting anecdotes going forward, and also some fun memes and all that kind of stuff. So keep your eyes peeled there. And as I had sort of said there a moment ago, and we kind of walked through this yesterday, we're stuck in a pretty wide trading range. I mean, it's about a little over $11,000. We probably should at the very least trade back to these candle body highs for trade location kind of stuff. We did have maybe a potential midpoint doji that would have projected an AB equals CD down into these levels, but they did take the doji high out. So if anything, that's a little bit of a consolation for the bulls. Mind you, if we go in 3-bar fractal here and, finish this week basically unchanged, and then next week we start to melt back down, well, then we might get a sell signal. But for the time being, we're basically stuck. We don't really have, I mean, this is a huge fractal top. that did technically fire, but we could very easily, wicks and tails like to be eaten. We could very easily come back up and explore this area up top. Actually, it was interesting. Yesterday, I had mentioned this chart, and I do find it fascinating how we had things like AB equals CDs, and we were talking about cost of production, and funny things like 78.6 is interesting how we did actually end up Wing off that 78.6. I suppose you could argue now that this high has been taken out, we might even, I know, well, I don't want to conjecture like that. That'll freak you all out. But I guess what I would just say here is, if this is sort of the end of this dead cat bounce move, I showed you things like 61.8 fibs. So in previous cycles, we bounced off of it. In the 14-15 cycle, we just did a straight line 50% correction following the halving event, which actually is pretty realistic. And then in the 19 one, of course, with all the crazy ass sickness stuff, we had to do like a full retrace all the way right back down to the bottom in a great panic there when the sky was falling in March of 2020, which of course was a total horse shit. But anyway, what I do find interesting about this particular chart, I suppose, is notice value here. Actually, there's a rule. Johnny Hoagland, he used to always talk about this with us. Might even be better just to go off of that entire range. You can kind of see where, if we just look at this range over the past couple of years, you can see where value is. And, it's interesting that when we got above this node here, not a hell of a lot of new buyers coming in here. I would expect just in the short term that this is actually a bit of a profile unto itself like that. And we should wash the lows, we should wash the highs. And ultimately, really what we want is we want to see this whole area of the profile filled in here. Now, it is interesting when I zoomed out over the whole image. And you can see that, if we look at the entire range, that area is actually value high. This should represent a pretty significant level that we should back into it, test value high, and then ask ourselves, and this is where we get into Hoag's 80% play. I can't call it the rule. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. But if we do accept back into value, well, technically we should actually come right back down and test the bottom of value. Of course, none of you want to see that. So I think that we've got a pretty important event that has to happen here somewhere around this, let's call it 35,000, somewhere in that area there. It might just be a quick spike right back down into this liquidity pool down here. I don't know. But I definitely think that before we get beyond the halving event and all that, well, actually not before. Let's say probably even just shortly thereafter, we probably should come back down and trade back down to value high here. So keep your eyes peeled for that, I suppose. I don't know whether that's of any value to you guys or not. What I did find interesting was, and you can kind of see we've done our fib study here. If you want to do this going forward, this is basically from halving event to peak. And then you project that 61.8 to 78.6. This is usually your bottoming window. And then there's usually sort of a great reset here around the halving event, and then we do it all over again. So what that means is you can see we're coming up on the halving event now. So there is the 38.2. If we just follow the same cycle pattern, and if I go back and show you the other one, you'd see it. This is our rally window here, folks. So get ready. Sure hope you're all ready for this. We're getting closer. We still probably have to get through the halving event. Probably, maybe like the middle of the summer, we actually set the base for this next big bull run. And of course, the expectation is we take out these old highs. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Interesting conversation there about long-term cycles. What I did notice is that there are a few names that are actually starting to turn already. And one in particular I wanted to show you. I don't know whether I have it on the screen here anymore or not, but it was Nemerite. I think that's how you pronounce it. I could have mispronounced it. Yeah, this guy, NMR. And what I found interesting about this is you can kind of see it. I think I tweeted it out. I'm not positive, but you can kind of see history repeating itself. So this one in particular didn't go to new highs the previous cycle, but if we break out through the top here, oh boy, that could be a massive pattern. And I suppose maybe we ought to see if this is set to. Yeah, I should probably wind this up. So I think, is this set to log? Yeah, it is. So if you do the fib studies off the log scale, gee whiz, if we break out through this high, this massive W, then it's projecting $6,400. Wow, what a move. I mean, who knows? It might not be this cycle. It might be next cycle. Do you like the idea of this cute little W here coming in, painting 120 or so? Which, as you can see, we're sitting right now at what, $30. That's like 3 or 4x where we are here. But hopefully, what you can see is, this is basically just history repeating itself. So there was the bottom in that last crypto bear. Right? Remember all that, the nightmare. Then, of course, here is your manufactured sickness. And the bottom all around that. Remember, we used to have a guy on the site that actually bought the Bitcoin test here of the lows, but a lot of these altcoins look the same. Here is your big bull market. In this case, they took this thing from like $4 all the way up to $80, $90. Holy geez, you want to get rich? That's like 20x. Could they do the same thing here? I don't see any reason why not. And I mean, you tell me, what letter of the alphabet do you see here? And it's actually breaking out today. So this is actually confirming right now that this thing wants up. So I do find that fascinating. It's like literally you can see history basically just repeating itself. So I sure hope you guys are getting ready. I don't think we're quite at the bull just yet. Maybe we have a nice little pop on names like this up into the actual halvening event. I don't know whether I have this date exactly right. I think it was my birthday in 2020. So the point being is this is the window where the public really isn't that interested in crypto yet. You don't hear any like circle jerking and people on crypto Twitter and stuff bragging about how they're billionaires and stuff yet. So take the opportunity to get your shit together, right? Get everything all lined up. Get your capital allocated. And of course, when the W's come in, for God's sakes, get in there and start accumulating. So I did find that fascinating when I was looking at the charts this morning. Maybe you can't see it, but I can literally see history repeating itself here. So get ready, folks. The table is set. All right. I think we'll leave it at that. Like I said, probably a lot of fun. Keep your eyes peeled for FUD around this Craig Wright event here. This might be sort of the catalyst that causes the crypto market to sell off. Who knows? And try and avoid China Day. It's an absolute train wreck here. So anyway. All right. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. I don't know what's going to be the format for all of these videos while we're on the road over the next few weeks. It might be pretty splotchy. So just, take it for whatever it's worth. If we miss a day or two, it's suppose not the end of the world. But keep your eyes peeled. We'll see. We'll just roll with the punches. All right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. And bye for now.